Whether Disney villain or princess, there comes a time in every person's life where they have to admit that they are not perfect. And with that in mind, I thought today would be as good a day as any to discuss popular Disney films I have never seen. Now, I am a huge Disney fan. I am obsessed with Disney as much as any other Disney fan, but there are some popular Disney films that I've just never been drawn to, I've never made the effort to see, and it's not that I never will see them, it's just that in terms of my list of film priorities, they're pretty low down there. So there are two popular Disney princess films that I've not seen, and I think these are the only two Disney princess films I've not seen, but somebody may correct me on that one. Partly, I just don't like Disney princesses that much, apart from Sleeping Beauty and Snow White, and Frozen, I guess. Mulan. I've never seen Mulan. I love the soundtrack. I often listen to songs from Mulan. I think it's great. But I just have never had an interest in seeing it. And I think it's because I missed it when it was first out and when all the hype was there. And then just other films came along and I just kept pushing it behind. And eventually I thought, well, it's been a long time. It's not really a priority anymore. But because I like the soundtrack, I think it is one that I will definitely see at some point. I just kind of haven't made the effort. The next Disney princess film is one that I have zero interest in. I don't think I can sing any songs from it. I don't care about it at all. And that's The Princess and the Frog. I don't know why I don't care about it. I don't remember it being released. I don't know anybody, like none of my close friends are particularly fanatic about it. The princess's name is Tiana, I think, which is a nice name. But I don't believe I know any of the songs. I was going to say I don't know what the story is about. I assume it's the story of the princess and the frog. So maybe I just don't want to see it because I kind of know the story. And I know that that's maybe a very naive way of looking at it because I just assume that I know what it's about. But yeah, unless somebody can convince me that it's worth seeing, I have no interest. Okay, so I'm going to put one in here that I actually may have seen. I don't know. But it's one of those films where if I have seen it, I can't remember it, I was very young, and that's The Great Mouse Detective. Now the reason I think I may have seen it was because I knew his name was Basil. But maybe that's just because Basil the Great Mouse Detective is a term that I hear bandied around quite a lot. I don't know. But it's one of those films where I couldn't tell you what it's about. I think it's kind of Sherlock Holmesy. Doesn't he have a little cap on and he might have a pipe? I don't know. But yeah, it's one of those films where I probably would have loved it as a child because the Disney animal films where I grew up on Disney animal films, Lion King, Oliver and Company, Hours to Cats, Dalmatians, Fox and the Hound. But when I recite those childhood favourites, The Great Mouse Detective never appears. And I feel like when I fell in love with Stuart Little, that would have been the age where I would have seen this film because I was obsessed with mouse-based film. So there's a gap in my memory, or I haven't seen it. Okay, so we have four more and my relationship with all four of them are very different. So we'll start with Hercules. Hercules, as with Mulan, I love the soundtrack, I love the songs from it, but I just think it's not the kind of film that I like when I consider Disney. I think does this make sense when I say it feels open? I prefer the Disney films where they're set in an enclosed space, like a castle or a thicket, whereas this one just feels like there's too much going on. But that's the reason why. And again, I don't really know anybody who is particularly obsessed with this film, so nobody's ever really said, oh, you have to watch it. But maybe I should, I don't know. If you love it, let me know. The next one, I have a very odd relationship with it, and it's kind of like the relationship I had with Harry Potter for about a year. The Emperor's New Groove. I've never seen it. I don't know what it's about. Is it loosely based on The Emperor's New Clothes? I kind of feel like it's not, but it could be. But I had the I had the PC game. As with Harry Potter, I had the PlayStation 1 game for the Philosopher's Stone before I read it or saw it. But with The Emperor's New Groove, I loved playing the game. It kind of reminded me of Farmville. You had to make crops and things. But I've never seen it. So I enjoyed playing the game even though I didn't know the story, but I obviously didn't love it that much that I went on to see it. Then the last two are definitely new wave Disney. They're not classics, but I feel like certainly one of them could become a classic in a decade or two. But these are films that I've never wanted to see, and I probably never will. And I don't even think I realised the first of these two was Disney. Let's Meet the Robinsons. I've never Now that I think about it, I believe I've gone into the Disney store and have seen Meet the Robinsons merchandise, and I've never questioned it, but I didn't think it was Disney, but apparently it is. And the last one, I think, was released when I stopped watching this kind of film. This is Bolt. Now, had Bolt been released 5 years earlier, I would have seen it. I probably would have been obsessed with it, because it's an animal film. Bolt is a dog, a very cute dog. But I stopped watching animal films at a certain point. I don't really remember when, but over time, I've stopped watching films that make me cry. Because for me, films are an escape from the stresses of daily life. And I like films to make me happy or scared or terrified, but I don't like films that make me cry, because I escape films to stop crying. But Bolt I would have loved. Now, it might not even be an emotional film, but I cried at Cats and Dogs, which is not an emotional film, but because there are animals in it, I cried. And I will at Bolt. So those are my popular Disney film confessions. There are probably other popular Disney films that I haven't seen, and I now invite everybody else to share their Disney film confessions. And no doubt I will find other ones that I haven't seen.